A lot has changed overnight, but Buick and GMC's commitment to you remains the same. We understand you want to feel safe, so we're offering current owners complimentary OnStar Crisis Assist services. Should you need a vehicle, we're offering 0% financing for up to 84 months with deferred payment options for 120 days. Plus, you may have the option to shop online and take delivery at home. Visit our websites for the help you need.
Visit AutoSpot GMC today.
Hi, my name is Eddie Santos. I'm a retired Army Sergeant with more than 23 years, and I am a disabled vet. I've been all over the place trying to get assistance for my disability. And as for right now, the only person that seemed to help me out was when I went to the congressman's office, tried to get some assistance for him to help me get my prosthetic leg fixed. So finally the congressman had me the opportunity to go to Palo Alto in San Jose, California, where they finally fixed my prosthetic. If you need help and you seem to not get it anywhere, you should go see our congressman with the people he has there to help us veterans get what we need and what we deserve for doing our time in service for the freedom of our island and for our country.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the Office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Funerals actually take a lot more planning than I expected. With us using island cuisine for the first time, of course we were iffy, but once they came and showed us their service, their food, tasted their food and everything, we definitely use them again because their service and food is just awesome.
After Guam, si Rod's Gimp introducing the 2020 Toyota Tacoma Access Cap T-Max. Este na mês, gato may promo ng United Airlines, $1,000 United vouchers. After nananga, sabik man manono si Tacoma, Guam, Tacoma territory. Sexy Rod's ginagi Atkins Pro Toyota, 671-788-2584. Talumbray, go si Rod's, sinanagan sa 671-788-2584. After nananga, let's go places.
Many accolades and celebrations.
Buenas and half a day, and welcome to Kandit News. I'm Johnny Rosario.
And I'm Troy Torres.
It is March 31 on this lovely Tuesday afternoon.
Welcome to our show, and thank you so much for joining us in our studios here in Tumon, Guam. Breaking news from the governor's office.
Oh shoot! Totally forgot our mics.
Forgot our microphones.
Oh shoot! Sorry, guys.
Buenas, Micronesia. I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
Welcome to our studios here in Tumon, Guam. That's my dog barking in the background because the show started and he wants to cramp my style. But it's a tragic day. There was news just a few minutes ago from Governor Lulian Guerrero that a 79-year-old man who was on a morphine drip at Guam Memorial Hospital, who was COVID-19 positive and whose family signed a do not resuscitate, passed away. He had underlying health conditions, and our condolences to the family of this man, 79 years old. He presented on March 25th to Guam Memorial Hospital. That's also the same day in Saipan.
GRMC first.
GRMC first.
First,
and then he was transferred.
And then he was transferred to
Oh, because GMH is the
Yes.
COVID-19 designated
Yes.
hospital and not GRMC. That also coincidentally is the same day that the 70-year-old man in Saipan who died yesterday was presented with symptoms to the Commonwealth Healthcare corporation, March 25. Just a coincidence on two different islands. Just wanted to bring that up. But there also, so this is the second death of COVID-19 on our island. We, according to the numbers, 58 total confirmed COVID-19 cases on Guam, 2 confirmed COVID-19 cases in the CNMI. These numbers do not include the numbers from the USS Theodore Roosevelt. And actually, Prim is here to do our prayergram compilation later on today so that we can provide your best wishes and well wishes to the sailors aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt. If there is a video, a short video that you wanted to make or you want to make of your kids giving their well wishes to the sailors aboard that ship, please send it to news@kanditnews.com or you can write it in our post that corresponds to this on our Facebook page. There also has been a death, the first death among the military ranks of COVID-19. And from the Department of Defense's website, a news release, a New Jersey Army National Guardsman passed away on Saturday. The individual had tested positive for COVID-19 and had been hospitalized since March 21. Secretary of Defense Mark Esper says, "Today is a sad day for the Department of Defense as we have lost our first American service member, active, reserve, or guard to coronavirus. This is a stinging loss for our military community, and our condolences go out to his family, friends, civilian coworkers, and the entire National Guard community. The news of this loss strengthens our resolve to work ever more closely with our interagency partners to stop the spread of COVID-19. That's according to Secretary of Defense Mark Esper. The release goes on to state, starting in January, the Department of Defense has adopted dramatic mitigation measures to protect service members, civilian employees, contractors, and their families from coronavirus. These include mandating social distancing, termination of certain work and training activities, and providing testing and care for our community members. Our condolences to the military community on your loss. Our condolences to the 79-year-old man who died today, to the first COVID-19 fatality family, the 68-year-old woman in Chalampago, our condolences, and of course to the 70-year-old man's family.
79.
No, the one in Saipan, the 70-year-old man's family in Saipan. There is another death that has been reported of the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Guam, and in a release from the Supreme Court, in a statement by Chief Justice F. Philip Carbolito. Go ahead and cast to my screen so people can see this message from the Chief Justice.
It says, Chief Justice Peter Siguenza Jr. passed away at home on March 30, 2020, surrounded by his loved ones. The judiciary mourns the loss of a great jurist, and many of us also mourn the loss of a dear friend. Chief Justice Siguenza was a pioneer in our judicial system with a brand of justice that was unique as it was thoughtful, deliberate, and reasoned. So much of his life was devoted to serving the public and improving the administration of justice. After 12 years as a trial judge in the Superior Court of Guam, he was appointed as the first Chief Justice of Koten Mas Takilik Guahan in 1996. He served the people of Guam as a judicial officer for nearly 19 years, retiring from the bench in January 2003. Chief Justice Siguenza served his term during some very tumultuous times in our court's history, with the challenges of reestablishing the Supreme Court of Guam and forging a unified judiciary. He unwaveringly dedicated the latter part of his career to ensuring the unification of the Superior and Supreme Courts, establishing the judiciary in the framework of the Organic Act and reorganizing the judiciary as the third co-equal and independent branch of the government of Guam. Although he retired before the unification, the unified judiciary we all serve in today is a credit to his efforts. I had the distinct privilege of serving alongside him as a colleague on the bench. I, at the beginning of my career as a justice, and he at the end of his, I came to know this about him. He was undaunted by public criticism in the face of doing what he believed was correct under the law. He never bowed to partisan interests and applied the law with an uneven hand. He remained a vigorous advocate for equal partnership with the other branches of the government. And amid all these grand and admirable qualities, let us never forget his unrivaled sense of humor, his musical talent, his love for the ocean and for his Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and his refusal to conform to anything other than who he was. He will be missed tremendously. On behalf of my fellow justices of the Supreme Court of Guam, the judicial officers of the Superior Court of Guam, and the entire judicial branch, we extend our heartfelt condolences to his wife, Kathy Focus Seguenza, his daughter, and a member of our court management, Don Seguenza Blas, and their entire family. Be assured he has left a great legacy that shall not soon be forgotten. May he rest in peace. Respectfully, Tina Blas, Public Information Officer, AOC.
So thank you, Tina, for providing us that statement from the Chief Justice. I met him like a couple of, I'm talking about Chief Justice Seguenza now. I met him like a couple of times and he seemed like a really cool cat. Like super cool cat. Yep. He's the one with the tattoos, right?
Right, all over.
Yeah, he said he had the Harley Davidson bike and all that stuff. Yeah. Cool cat. Super, and
I don't know him.
So our condolences to the Seguenza family and to the entire judicial family, all the lawyers, all the clerks, all the judges and justices who worked with him. It's a sad day for Guam. Now, going over to the other branch of the government of Guam, the Guam legislature was supposed to go into session today at 10 a.m. And, well, they didn't. And there was a letter from the governor asking the speaker yesterday not to have session because they're still working out some kinks in the cash assistance program and the pandemic unemployment insurance program from the federal government that requires local effort. According to Congressman San Nicolas, part of that local effort was the passage of laws that created at least one of those programs on Guam, which is the PUI program. But for whatever reason, the governor has at least publicly convinced the legislature that there are things that need to be worked on before the legislature goes into session, if they need to go into session. But of course, there's always a backstory to these things and information from legislative sources about what really is going on. And it may actually be more of a logistical issue of session, considering the social distancing policies and all this stuff, rather than conforming to what the governor is asking.
Supposedly.
Yes. So because that information was shared in complete confidence, we're not going to get into what that backstory may be. But what we do want to get into is that at least Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes and Vice Speaker Talita Nelson had measures along with the Republican minority that wasn't about those federal programs, was about local efforts such as the release of more tax refunds or more money that the legislature would earmark toward the payment of tax refunds, toward, I believe Vice Speaker Nelson's bill was like a local unemployment program, and the Republicans' bills were about tax relief so that there would be more money flowing into the economy, and relief in the business privilege tax, relief from the liquid fuel tax so that the price of gas would be cheaper, and also a bill by Senator James Moylan that would turn GIDA's small business lending program into an individual lending program for people who need to consolidate debt so that they can pay their bills throughout this emergency. So why the legislature wouldn't go into session to at least address those local programs, well, I guess we'll soon find out from the legislature about that. Senator, say hi to Yumiko. That's my big dog. Yumiko! Yumiko!
It's out there.
Say hi to Issa. That's the little dog. Yumiko! Senator Hello Tadigui is pissed. The Republican minority, they're upset that the legislature is not going into session, and they let the speaker know about this in a release from the Republican senators. Oh, Jesus Christ, Yumiko. Yumiko!
Yeah, that doesn't work.
I swear to God, those are the Democrats sending people outside this damn place so that they can interrupt our broadcast. Hold on, everyone. I'm sorry.
You should just carry her over.
No, she's too big. So never mind Yumiko right now, because she's not going to listen to me because she doesn't listen to me. I don't know how you people can deal with having kids that don't listen. My dogs already drive me crazy sometimes. Minority Leader Hello Tadigui lashed out.
The congressman is laughing at you.
Hi Congressman. Lashed out at Speaker Barnes in reaction to the Speaker's postponing session and giving in to the governor's request for a hands-off approach addressing the pandemic that is crippling the economy and further threatening lives. Senators Hello Tadigui and Senators Luis Muñoz, James Moylan, and Will Castro are shocked to learn that Speaker Barnes canceled the emergency session scheduled for today. This is the second time the Speaker canceled an emergency session. Senator Tadigui says, Tina Barnes is playing games by blaming Republicans for today's canceled session. This is not the case. She knows it, and I want everyone else to know it. Ooh, she is mad. Mm-hmm. The first emergency session, which was scheduled for March 23, 1 week before Guam's first COVID-19 case. On March 16, the Republican caucus requested to postpone the session because of one or more senators' recent travels was known to countries where COVID-19 was present. Who are these senators? I didn't know that senators had recent travel. Did you guys know that?
I think they went to Taiwan or...
There were senators who went to Taiwan?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that. The following statement is from the Republican senators. We are ready to pass legislation that prioritizes our people over politics. We've introduced bills that provides relief to businesses and families, aids first responders, protects healthcare professionals, and that strengthens emergency response and critical infrastructure. We agree that internal legislative, technical, and procedural matters can be worked out, but we also agree that the Guam legislature is a separate and co-equal branch of government that should provide checks and balances and appropriate funds that reflect the priorities of the community. It is the legislature and not the governor of Guam that determines the funding priorities for the island. Let's move forward and quickly. People's lives depend on it. That last part of the statement is probably the most important part of it, and that is if this stalling of session in any way stalls the flow of cash from the federal assistance programs, I think people are going to be very upset because we're now going into this is the second week of it. This is the second week of it. This is 1 or 2 payroll checks that have been diminished, if they even exist at all now for many in the private sector.
Right.
And people are running out of money, and there are still landlords out there and real estate agents who are being real douchebags and not following the orders of the government about evictions. There's Horizon Properties that's threatening their clients or their tenants with penalties, even though this is now against federal law. And so there's a bunch of worry and anxiety out there that people have, and it's just so sad. It really is. Now, as the legislature is trying to get it together, there are still people out there who haven't gotten it together and have not heard that, hey, there's a problem in our community, and everyone's trying to be a good citizen by doing their part to stay indoors, social distancing. There are still idiots out there committing crimes. And according to a release from, stand by, I need to find all my documents that are in like 5
Are you opening the
places.
magistrates?
No, the Paul to Pal press release. Sorry, I had it earlier. So Sergeant Paul Tapal, from the spokesman for the Guam Police Department, just sent out news that there were several shops at the Chamorro village that were broken into. Yesterday, Central Precinct Command entertained 7 burglary complaints at Chamorro village. Preliminary reports suggest that on March 13, Chamorro village shops closed all operations and activities at Chamorro village. Sometime from March 13 to 30th, the following 7 shops were broken into: A&A Variety Gift Shop, Guam Gallery of Art, Smart Cut, Peak Craft International, LMY Clothing, Mode More, and Chamorro Island Barbecue. GPD is asking the help from the community relative to this case. Should anyone who may have information about these cases, you are asked to call our dispatchers at 472-8911, or if you want to submit this anonymously, you can call or you can access the Guam Crime Stoppers 24-hour tip line at guam.crimestoppersweb.com. Again, that's guam.crimestoppersweb.com. To make a call, you can call the Guam Police Department at 472-8911. Again, that's 472-8911. I just want, how incredibly, I mean, I know that people who are committing crimes in general have selfish motivations.
Yes, usually who commit crimes go for the vulnerable. So they are going to attack.
But in a time like this, it is just extraordinarily selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, how dare you? You can't wait until this crisis is over to do your whatever, because
it's crimes against humanity. Same thing with our government. Them not getting together in session. The governor still, there's all kinds of delays, and the only people that are suffering are the people of Guam.
Yeah. Yep. And we heard very clearly from our congressman that one of the things needed to get things off the ground for this, at least part of the federal assistance, is for our legislature to get together, and that they're delaying this thing is, I don't know. I guess those who have, who give the Guam legislature or our government less of a benefit of a doubt than I do, all saw this coming. Mm-hmm. They all said, oh no, they're gonna screw this up, Well, let's hope they don't screw it up much longer, because people are waiting on stuff to happen. Now, yesterday, at the end of the show last night, I talked about, this is just to give a little bit lighthearted moment to all of this really bad news.
Yeah.
Yesterday, at the end of the show, I talked about how the governor's spokeswoman in the CNMI, Kevin Bautista, was complaining that in a breaking news alert that we used about the one death yesterday, that we used an image on the public domain that has the CNMI logo on it. And of all things to complain about and be a sissy about, it was that. And so, we were thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Kandit has lots of pictures of Governor Ralph Torres. Mm-hmm. And this is an example of be careful what you wish for, governor's office in the CNMI, because you might just get your wish. Mm-hmm. So from now on, we will no longer be using that image from the Facebook public domain of the governor's office in CNMI.
Yeah.
And we will now be using one of 2 pictures to break news coming from the CNMI office of the governor. Can we put up that first one, the first picture? There we go. That's Governor Ralph Torres in a candid shot. You like that? You hear what
with this really, really close, I don't know what
advisor,
you call her.
Special assistant.
Special assistant.
But look how professional it is. There's an American flag in the background. The governor is working above the table.
I wonder what's happening below the table, though.
There's a highlighter. Look, they're working hard. Now, there's a second picture, too, that we can use. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at the governor and all of his friends. So, office of the governor of the CNMI, you're going to get your wish. We are going to stop using that official-looking blue backdrop picture that was in the public domain and begin using the pictures that we already have. And it would have been so easy for us to use pictures that we already had of the governor. And I just want you to know, thank you so much for your suggestion and your advice. And you should always be careful what you ask for when you reach out to my friends to ask them to ask me something. Because I always have a way of responding to your requests. Now, another thing that's going on in the CNMI, and this is, I've been thinking about this a lot since I got this, and I can't think of a reason why the governor's office would allow this to happen in the CNMI. This is, go ahead and cast to my screen. This is Directive 14, part of the newest set of orders from Governor Ralph Torres about the COVID situation in the CNMI. It says, as authorized under 1 CMC, subsection 2191D2, and blah, 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 and subject to the modifications and exceptions stated in Section B of this directive, all businesses that have facilities open to the general public shall only be open to the public from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Outside of those hours, businesses may operate but may not be open to the general public. This is in line with the whole curfew thing, right? Businesses engaged in gaming, such as the casino, video poker establishments, and e-gaming facilities are specifically included within these restricted hours. Businesses may not conduct a drop-off or pickup or delivery service during the curfew hours set in Directive 16. What I want to know is, why are you allowing the casino and the video poker establishments to even be open during a time when you're supposed to be...
Social distancing.
Yeah, social distancing. And I'm going to guarantee you guys that the people going into these video poker establishments are not sanitizing their hands when they go from one machine to the next. I don't know, it just seems reckless to me that the governor of the CNMI would allow these establishments to remain open.
No, but I just love how they just, only that those establishments are named there.
Yeah, yeah, because they wanted to make it clear that they are allowed to be open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Why are they even allowed to remain open at all?
Money.
Jeez, that's the only thing. I keep thinking about this. It's the only thing I can come up with. Like,
well, Guam, when you drive around Guam, all the good note is all the game rooms are closed.
Now, I was wondering about that. Is it because the governor said, or is it because the court said?
No, it's the governor.
It's because the governor said.
Yeah, any establishments that's not essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Governor? Good job on that.
Yeah.
Good job, Governor Lulian Guerrero of Guam. Good job for closing down those video poker establishments or Liberty establishments, whatever they're called. Governor Ralph Torres, I don't know what excuse you have about that. That's just ridiculous. Now, Congressman Mike Nicholas, this is one of our top 2 stories today. Congressman Mike Nicholas issued a news release earlier today and letters to banks on Guam. Why don't you take this one? You can go ahead and cast to my screen, Charlo, so people can see the story.
Congressman Michael Nicholas cautions Guam financial institutions against defrauding customers. In a letter to Guam financial institution, Congressman Nicholas praises certain financial institutions for proactively helping their customers and cautions against defrauding them. In particular, the congressman cited constituent complaints made to his office about certain financial institutions requiring lengthy documentation and proof of need to get more mortgage forbearance as a result of the COVID-19 disaster. The federal law we passed does not require loads of paperwork for mortgage forbearance to be processed, opened Congressman Nicholas. We were notified of one bank in particular that was falsely claiming that paperwork and proof of need were required by Freddie Mac guidelines, and that is untrue, Congressman Nicholas added. Fraudulently making the progress of disaster relief more difficult is a serious offense that should not be inadvertently committed, Congressman Nicholas concludes. Any resident experiencing difficulty in getting service for their mortgage forbearance is urged to contact the Federal Housing Finance Agency at fhfa.gov or the Office of Congressman Nicholas at nicholas.house.gov. If you believe you are being fraudulently required to go through more steps than you should for federal relief, you can also contact the Guam U.S. Attorney's Office at justice.gov/USAO-GU.
Now, the congressman is not naming the bank that that these criticisms are coming from, but
we will.
Because we got the information from actually several veterans. There are veterans, a couple of them combat veterans, who started to apply for this process. You can go ahead and cast to my screen, Chelo. And this is the form that Bank of Guam is giving them. It is a 4-page document. And it's not necessarily that it's a 4-page document that is the problem, but it's the documentation that they're requiring for these people to turn in when at a time that the federal government has required banks to get rid of these requirements.
Right, and also a lot of these places that they need to get are closed.
Yeah, exactly.
So the paperwork that's needed for this, places are closed. Our government is closed.
So at first they say, you know, they ask the type of hardship, you know, reduction in income, a hardship that has caused a decrease in your income due to circumstances outside your control. Required hardship documentation, not required. But then, under the borrower income schedule, they tell you that you have to get your most recent pay stub and documentation of year-to-date earnings, if not on pay stub, or 2 most recent bank statements showing income deposit amounts. That requires a whole lot of, first of all, your company might not be open. Secondly,
revenue tax closed.
If you go, revenue and taxes closed. If you go to the bank or to your company, you place yourself in greater risk of being exposed to COVID-19. And that's just on the gross wages, salaries, overtime pay, et cetera, self-employment income. They require documentation. And unemployment benefit income, it says no documentation required. That's the only category here where no documentation is required. So the congressman won't name the bank, but we sure will. It's Bank of Guam.
The People's Bank.
The People's Bank. Now there's even more to this. And if you notice, Congressman Nicholas says, and he's absolutely right, contact the U.S. Attorney's Office if you know that this is happening. So to our viewers who sent this stuff to us, as we told you earlier today when we talked to each other, call the U.S. Attorney's Office. Well, guess who the United States Attorney is? Sean Anderson. The same guy who Governor Lulian Guerrero, family owns Bank of Guam, tried to get removed as the U.S. Attorney by writing a letter that was spat back in her face to and by U.S. Attorney General William Barr.
Yes.
In a very embarrassing rebuke of Guam by the U.S. Attorney General because Ms. Leon Guerrero was trying to get Sean Anderson removed.
Yeah.
And then we see, these things, they are not coincidences. These things connect. But probably more disturbing is guidance that the community received from the Department of Revenue and Taxation today. And it's something that normally I would have glossed over, I wouldn't have seen, but I decided to look at it a little more closely because, I was a little bored and I had stopped watching SVU for a little bit earlier today. But go ahead and cast back to my screen. This is Joint Information Center release number 40. And, there we go. There's updated deadlines because of the governor's new executive order. And look at this, board meetings pushed back to after April 13. Meetings with rev and tax personnel pushed back to after April 13. Deadline for 2019 returns. This is a federal thing, moved from April 15 to July 15. You can file your 1040 online. Deadlines for real property tax. The original due date was March 15. Now it's been moved to May 31. Deadline for payment of second installment to the real property tax due April 20, 2020. Renewals for motor vehicle registration moved to May 31, right? For driver's license, online appointments can be had for the period March 16 to April 13, will be accommodated at the Hagåtña satellite office and regular office hours resume. So it's after the April 13 thing. For driver's license that already expired, you can get it done by May 31. May 31, the next one, business licenses. May 31, business licenses. Penalties will be charged. New business licenses, passport services. What does it say? Passport services will not be made available until regular office operations resume. So that's, as for now, after April 13. Insurance. To May 1, 2020. Deadline, June 1, 2020. New deadline, June 1, 2020. Audited financial statements of insurance companies, May 15, May 15, May 15. Now banking. Look at that. The deadline that was extended the longest by the Department of Revenue and Taxation for the reporting of banks on its financial statements and its audited financial statements.
Why is it September 30?
September 30, 2020. September 30, 2020. This is the banks get the longest deadline extension out of everything. The people get an extension to May 1, June 1, April 14, May 20th, May 31st, nothing in July, but banks get to go all the way to September 30, 2020 on their audited financial statements, on their bank assets assessments, and on letters of intent for financial institutions, all the way to September 30, 2020. And then we get this information about the mortgage forbearance. And then we have the governor whose family owns a bank, the same bank that's violating the mortgage forbearance laws, trying to move out the U.S. attorney and the documentations required to prove this, that, or the other thing, now pushed all the way to September 30 of this year.
Coincidence?
We think not. Is your mic on? Did people hear that?
No.
So Prim said coincidence, and then I said, we think not.
But here at Kandit, what did they call us? We're
full of shit.
No, the conspiracy theorists.
Well, our conspiracies have worked. Need I remind everyone that we called the Brandon Acosta murder 6 months before the Guam Police Department did? So if we want to call it conspiracy theories, go right ahead. Let's see what we've missed all of your comments. I'm so sorry. Jacob Nakamura says, times like this, I wish MSN was, shoot, the thing disappeared. I think he said, I wish MSN was here leading us, and I didn't see the rest of it. But yes, we agree, Jacob. Joaquin Mendiola Jr. says, by the way, are you guys still banned from the governor's office for answers that they're holding from the people? Yes, and we're going to get to that story next. Frank Cruz says, kudos to Congressman Michael Sinicolas in doing something to help our people and our island. Once again, kudos, Congressman. Yes. Esther Farron says, they better expedite, so quarantine is only 14 days. James Howard says, Bank of Guam. Jack Surowski says, thank you, Congressman. Jacob Nakamura says, if you have questions on where the illegal underground poker games are still ongoing, please call Carlo Branch at the governor's office at 472-8931. He can give you the locations. Tell him Kandit sent you. Eve Solis says, LMAO, I'll bet you it's Bank of Guam. Your bet is right. You can collect now. Call Carlo Branch at the governor's office to find out the locations of the betting sites. Tell him Kandit sent you. Brad Hewitt says, you know how Guam is, the ancient use of the word documents for everything. Mayor's verification, birth certificate, passport, baptism record, divorce papers, court clearances,
school verification,
power bill showing address, police clearance, and social security card, blah, blah, blah. Go here, get this stamp, to that agency, get that stamp, return here when finished, and stand in the long line. He's
so
not,
right.
He's not exaggerating. He's not. That's exactly what this is. We are documented to death on this island. But when the media asks for documents from the government, all of a sudden they don't exist. No one there had to stand in line. Thank you, Brad Hewitt. E. Solid says, I freaking knew it. Stonefish says, the congressman is bad arse. Eve Solace, everyone close your accounts at Bank of Guam. Chantel Shim, they playing us, man. Jacob Nakamura says, my favorite in today's news conference was when a reporter asked Lou about people recently laid off, and she said for them to go get food stamps. Okay, like go line up and meet with the food stamps people. Is that still allowed because of COVID? Are they open? I don't think the governor knows anything about how food stamps works. Eve Solace says, third, tell them to STFU. Oh my goodness. Jacob says, so call Sean Anderson at the U.S. Attorney's Office on Guam to report the Bank of Guam. I love this so very much. Cello, can you find the number to the U.S. Attorney's Office and their email address so that people can know who to call? Ann Leon Girl says, here now, sorry I started late. Better late than never. Welcome, Ann. She says, was listening to the Lady Gov's address, then had to make me late lunch. Johnny made kadu. And Prim got to eat some, so when we're done with this live, I'm gonna eat some. Brad Hewitt says the U.S. attorney already told Lou to keister it on numerous occasions. She must enjoy getting keistered. Hiya, Instagram land. Eve Solon says, let Jay all corrupted anyway, we will get screwed. Vanessa Navarro says, so what, no stimulus? You guys don't want to piss off the Vanessa Navarro. Jacob says to Anne, I listed too, but was a little sick after could not eat. Oh, listen to the governor. Eve Solis says, geez, I haven't received my W-2. Eve, that is a very big problem, and your employer needs to answer for that. Chantel Shim says, what's the use of a deadline when they can't even release the returns fast enough? Actually, the question we should be asking is, why is the legislature not in session so that the refunds can come out faster? Mm-hmm. Because they have a bill for it that's ready to go. Jacob says, but Lou says...
But only on Guam, even though it's the law, we need a bill, even though the federal government has slapped our hand and said, you guys need to pay this. Yes, they gave us up to 6 months, but, we still need... Yeah.
OOG, the legislature needs to tell the governor to pay all of you your own money.
Yes, yes.
WWECD.
What would,
Hashtag WWECD.
What would
Eddie Calvo do?
Oh. For for the U.S. attorney, guys.
Can you imagine Eddie Calvo walking up to the governor's office? He says, hey guys, where's Lou? I gotta talk to her. She's not doing some of this stuff right.
Spot on, bro. Spot on.
Hey, Prima, Governor. Governor Lou. First Lady Governor. Let me help you out there, woman.
I wonder if they think about calling her. I wonder.
If Eddie Calvo thinks about calling...
Eddie Calvo,
Joada,
Gutierrez, I wonder.
Well, I guarantee you, Paul Calvo, Joada, and Carl Gutierrez are in home quarantine because those guys are senior citizens, and we do not want anything bad happening to them or to their wives. But Eddie Calvo and Felix Camacho, right? Mm-hmm. They're still young.
Yeah. I wonder if they...
Or what if they have called her? And what if he said, what do you want, Eddie?
I don't have time for this right now.
What do you want, Felix? I'm so sorry. What's the number?
Never mind, Jacob did it. It's in our comments.
No, but let's just tell people.
For the United States attorney, it is 472-7332. Just call them. Yeah. And also in Saipan, it's 670-236-2980.
Oh, and that's not just about giving them information about banks. If you have information in Saipan that will lead to the capture and arrest of Governor Ralph Torres, you call the U.S. Attorney's Office. So what's that number again?
670-236-2980.
Jacob Nakamura says, if you have questions about where to go to qualify and if you qualify for food stamps, give Carlo Branch of the governor's office a call. He can be reached at 472-8931. Tell him Troy and Johnny at Kandit sent you. Now, yes, last night during the live, Nancy Maanyao, based on actually very reliable sources, and when Nancy ran this story by me, at first I was like, eee. And then she told me the sources, and I was like, okay, fine, publish the story. So in the middle of last night's live, a story published regarding, and you guys have probably noticed it, Kandit is not invited to the governor's news conferences. And that's okay because we don't care. We can watch it and provide you the information, and it's not like any groundbreaking stuff is ever revealed at these news conferences. And the other reporters do a good job asking the questions that matter anyway. And so we don't give two hoots one way or the other. And I don't know why the governor's office
You know why.
would even, no, but it doesn't make sense to do that. It's just not logically sound or strategically and reasonably motivated.
Because you're going to ask questions, because how they try to work the system. They work us. They're trying to work us. And you can see the working coming. So you're going to ask a question that they're not going to be able to answer, because it's going to prove that they're lying about the numbers. And numbers don't lie, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't afford to have you there, because you're going to come in and make sure that all of Guam knows that they are lying about what they're telling them.
But so as we've been watching this, Nick Delgado asked those questions.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very good about asking the right questions.
Yes.
And so, hey, they're getting screwed anyway.
Yeah.
You know? Why?
Well, they don't want to get extra screwed.
So Nancy published a story that last night that reads, if it looks like Kandit News Group has been completely ostracized by the governor's communications team, you are not imagining it. You can go ahead and cast on my screen so people can see the images. As the island reels at the prospect of more confirmed infections and deaths as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak, the office of the governor has almost completely shut out Kandit News from asking the Leon Guerrero administration the tough questions no other local news organization is willing to ask. Kandit has also been absent from participating in all of the governor's daily press conferences. This is, as it turns out, deliberate. At least two credible and highly placed Kandit news sources inside the administration confirmed today it is because of one person, longtime political hack Carlo Branch, a staffer tasked to serve as Adaloop's chief policy advisor. One of the sources said he basically ordered communication staff to ignore Kandit News inquiries, adding that not inviting Kandit to participate in the governor's teleconferences was by his order as well. This pattern of behavior by administration officials began months ago. Since his appointment to the administration in September, officials from the governor's office have routinely ignored our inquiries, some of which were made under the Freedom of Information Act, or the FOIA law. In fact, according to the other source, Branch told Governor Leon Guerrero, quote, don't worry, Kandit won't do anything about it, referring to the FOIAs. But actually, we had the complaints ready. It's just that COVID-19 struck. We were ready to file it in Superior Court. According to one source, Branch has also seemed to take a cavalier attitude with respect to his new role, and this is concerning given the gravity of the situation facing Guam. Quote, instead of crafting a message and pushing out positive work being done by the governor, Branch instead spends his days convincing the governor that she is being portrayed in a positive light by all the media and convincing her that her, quote, polling numbers are extremely high. With no training or experience on the executive level in emergency response or pandemic training, Branch brags that he is leading the government response with Dr. Mike Cruz and that everyone reports to him and Dr. Mike, according to the source. The governor appointing Guam Regional Medical City President and former Lieutenant Governor Dr. Mike Cruz as her chief medical advisor on the outbreak and state surgeon was Branch's idea. The source said it was Branch's idea because, quote, he wants Lou to dump Josh, unquote, referring to the current Lieutenant Governor Branch worked for and played a pivotal role in Cruz's failed bid for governor in 2010. We vetted the sources. Well, the sources are highly reliable. And So if you've been wondering why the governor's strategy on communicating with the public during this COVID-19 crisis has been wanting, you wonder why haven't they been informing people more often? Why did they allow wrong information to go out on several occasions? Why are their news conferences so unpolished? How come the lieutenant governor, until today, has not said anything?
He spoke.
Only today did he speak during this entire time. Why was former Lieutenant Governor Mike Cruz front and center in this entire thing alongside with Governor Leon Guerrero? So these, as a communications person, who I once was in charge of the Joint Information Center for several different disasters, I can tell you that the mistakes that the administration have been making have been baffling to me, because they're rookie mistakes. They're amateur mistakes that could easily be avoided. And Carlo Branch is a very smart person who understands a communication strategy and what it takes to win a communication strategy, to win over the public's confidence for the governor. And when we heard this quote, it was, instead of crafting a message and pushing out positive work being done by the governor, Branch instead spends his days convincing the governor, et cetera, et cetera. I thought, oh, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Because if Carlo Branch is, and he's the guy in charge of their communication strategy, if his head is not in the game for the right reasons, that means his head is somewhere else.
Right.
It means it's planning something else, plotting something else. And I thought about it. That's right. Carlo was one of Mike Cruz's 2 top advisors. And his other top advisor when Mike Cruz was the lieutenant governor was current governor's special assistant, Carlotta Leon Guerrero. And now those 2 work together. And now Dr. Mike Cruz is front and center in this. And people have asked, how come the governor didn't ask Dr. Vince Akimoto or Dr. Tom Shea or some other doctor who has been very loud about what needs to be done since January, February of this year in order to prepare for the COVID-19 outbreak that was sure to come to Guam because of the bad policies being implemented by the Leon Guerrero administration. And then we find out that it was Carlo Branch's idea to bring on Dr. Mike Cruz from GRMC, which, guys, is not designated to be a COVID-19 hospital.
And I find it strange that we published this story and Josh gets to speak today, the lieutenant governor, the LT, and Carlo Branch calls Dr. Mike Cruz LT.
During the thing?
During all their meetings and all of that, that's what he calls Dr. Mike Cruz.
In front of Josh
In front
Tenorio?
of Josh.
Oh,
is
that's,
LT.
That's extremely disrespectful.
Then also how Annie Bordalio now is speaking.
And not Mike
After
Cruz?
after our little, I find it, yeah.
This is par for the course for Carlo Branch. This is the kind of thing that he's been doing in the legislature, and when he worked for Dr. Mike Cruz, when he was lieutenant governor, and now that he's working, I don't think anyone in the Leon Guerrero administration should be surprised whatsoever that this kind of thing is going on that is sure to cause some kind of rift between the governor and lieutenant governor at a time
when we need them the most.
Yes, absolutely. And that's probably what's the saddest thing about this, is the politics that are involved in a time when politics are not needed or wanted whatsoever. Let's see what your comments are on this. Jacob Nakamura says, Carlo Branch never met a bottle of Jack Daniel. He did. Mark Uggan says, cock-eyed loser, nothing to do with stir up spoiled soup. I bet he was picked on in high school. James Howard says, Simple Jack is afraid of Troy. You can see it in his eyes. Look deep and you will see he's here because he can't control Kandit. Poor Simple Jack. Such a shame. And Leon Guerrero says, they're following Trump's way of hiding the truth, and one way is to gag Kandit News because they know Troy will find out and bring out all the truths. Kelly Dezama asks, anyone knows where Tony Babalta and the Deputy Chief of Staff are? As we understand it from our inside sources, Tony Babalta and Carlo Branch are the ones in control of the emergency response, which
is none, doesn't exist.
That wouldn't be scary if they were taking advice from the people who are actually trained in emergency response, and that would be the Administrator of Civil Defense, and people like Leo Espia, who's, I believe, the chief planner for Guam Homeland Security, and a few other people. There are people who have been trained over the past several years in emergency crisis communication who are working inside the Joint Information Center now. And if Janela Carrera and Carlo Branch would listen more to what they had to say, they would probably be getting this right. But as our sources tell us, and I believe that this is true, Carlos Branch is just not in that game.
Carlos Branch.
Tuigatha, according to, never mind. Jacob asked, Troy, were you able to track down confirmation on the comment on the website story about what happened between Carlo Branch and that woman last December? Don't forget to follow up with the victim and Guam police. Well, if you go to our website, www.kanditnews.com, in the story about Carlo Branch, if you go to the bottom, there are comments there. You'll see what Jacob is talking about. Brad Hewitt says, he's always planning ahead, always. Paris Blas says, exactly right on point. Thanks, Paris. Jacob says, Carlo Branch fancies himself a kingmaker. Funny, because he never was.
Never. Just like John Moffness.
Yeah. Jacob says, maybe that's why Carlo Branch hates our Congressman Mike Nicholas so much, because MSM doesn't play the nasty political games that Carlo Branch does. Interesting. Very interesting. Mark Uggins says, effing troll. Evelyn says, someone gotta slap them, stupid, so childish. Jacob says, Carlo gets drunk and trash talks and spills all the gossip.
Yes, he does.
Cello, can you put on the TV back here that picture that we had all day, because we haven't, remember the one from yesterday? It's my favorite picture. It's my favorite meme ever. The Chinese thing.
Oh, stand by.
Hi, Nardi Billy. Hi, Kevin Saitsuno. Do we have that? I really want people to see it. It's my favorite. For Kandit News, I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
Have a good day.